distance in the light, vibration of a thought.
Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and this is the My Sober Addiction podcast. And we are happy, healthy, wealthy, and free. Yes, loved one, you are happy, healthy, wealthy, and free. I don't care if you believe it or not, because I'm going to believe it enough for both of us. How about that? I hope you're well, loved one. I am doing fantastic. Actually, I have something I want to talk about. And you're like, well, of course you do, Matt. This is a podcast. Duh. All right, fair enough. You're right. This is a podcast, and that's what we do on podcasts is yap. I want you to learn, if you don't already, to love your life. Now, that's not the same as loving yourself. Obviously, I think that we all know we need to love ourselves. Because if you can't love yourself, well, then you can't expect anyone else to. And anyway, that's a whole other topic. But love your life. In a lot of ways, that can be taken as, well, I don't know how to take that, Matt. Well, I'm going to explain it to you. And I know that sounds like a bumper sticker slogan. I know that it sounds like one of those feel-good memes that we all will thumbs up and like and agree with and say, yeah, well, the things that we know we're supposed to like. But we really just kind of gloss over them, or we'll agree with them and say, yep, okay, that's cool. But as quickly as it came into our awareness, it is then gone. And it's not something that we really take to heart. It's just something that we agree with and let it go. That's what I mean when I say bumper sticker slogan, feel-good memes, things like that. With regards to that, it's kind of like other slogans that I have not been a fan of, such as, I don't want to pick on any organization, but whatever, here we go. And I've mentioned this one before. It is living life on life's terms. I understand what that means. I understand the meaning behind it. I do. But I'm more in favor of live life on my own terms. But I understand what it means. What it means is, and especially for people who are new to sobriety, people who normally, when things would not go their way, something bad would happen, something negative happen, they would then go and use drugs, and that was always our escape, is we would go and use drugs, and then we didn't have to face whatever negative thing was going on in our life at that time. The problem is that it would always still be there, just we were numb to it. But then when we got sober, we had this mountain of issues that we never dealt with, and now we've got to make our way through it. So we have the big slogan of live life on life's terms, meaning I'm just going to take it as it comes. I'm not going to try to escape. I'm not going to try to go and use drugs to cope with or just stick my head in the sand or whatever. And I understand that. Now, no, we don't need to revert back to using drugs every time something bad happens, of course. However, there's another way, in my opinion, to do this. We can say no longer is using drugs an option. I don't care what happens in my life. No matter how bad things may get, no matter how negative something that occurs may be, using drugs is not an option. Period. That's not how I'm going to handle things anymore. So if we take that off of the table and then we look at the slogan again of living life on life's terms, I'm like, nope, I'm going to live life on my terms. However, my terms have changed. From now on, my terms are, I will not fall into active addiction anytime something bad happens. Those are my terms. I'm going to live life on my terms, and I'm going to dictate how my life goes. That shouldn't come as a huge surprise. Dear loved one, I've been preaching about reality creation and all that good stuff, and I try to stay away from the manifestation word, but whatever. I've been talking about that stuff for a long time now. Getting back to what I started with, the learn to love your life, I think that's especially important to address with addicts, because when we first get sober, in a lot of cases, we don't even know who we are. In a lot of cases, people have been using for so long that became who they are. And that's just it. So then when they get sober, they really don't even know who they are anymore. So they'll fall into those slogans and things, but it's fake, really. And I don't mean they're being fake on purpose. They don't know, right? It's like, I don't know if I'm being real because I don't even know who I am anymore. So when I say learn to love your life, I mean, you've got to find purpose. You've got to find meaning. And everyone has purpose and meaning. But I wanted to kind of get in a little bit deeper because this is something that I have mentioned in the past, but I've always kind of glossed over it. And I really kind of want to get in a little bit deeper. And I may come off as sounding a bit woo-woo at times. And of course, I don't care about that either. I'll sound woo-woo. It's fine. So learn to love your life because you do belong here. And by here, I mean in this construct, in this world, on planet Earth, whatever you want to call it. Some people may feel homesick. I've heard some people, especially in the esoteric, the New Age field, people who are into spirituality, and therefore it's people who are new to sobriety. They will find religion some way or other. And if they go the New Age esoteric route, well, they're joining a whole other thing. But whatever, that's fine. I love my New Age people. I just hate calling it New Age, but that's okay too. So anyway, loved ones, I hear people a lot in the New Age esotericism say things like, I don't belong here, or I hate it here, or they will look to the stars and feel a longing to return home. Or they'll say things like, I feel homesick on this planet in this lifetime. And as far as like looking to the stars and feeling a longing to return home, well, I don't know. Because you know me, I am pretty much a simulation theorist at this point. So when I look to the stars, as beautiful as it is to me, I believe it is a copy of something. It's just a projection of a true something. However, I don't believe that we are currently in it because there's too much mathematical patterning. And I even mean that in calendars for me to be convinced that all of this is real and a cosmic accident, because things have happened in the course of history, in the course of the last 7,000 years, that literally you could set a clock by, or at least set a calendar by. Things happen in what they call periodicity to a point where it's like that is too mathematically precise. There are too many cycles that prove that things happen in cycles. Things happen on a, dare I say it, schedule. And I know that some people could say, well, yeah, Matt, but everything is cyclical. Everything happens in a order. Or even if it's to do with celestial bodies, people can say, yeah, Matt, well, that's because it's on an orbit, which happens every so often. That sounds good, except, for example, used to, calendars were 360 days a year. That's true. The Mayans and the ancient Egyptians and all of those guys, they had a 360-day year. And then there was some cataclysm that knocked the earth off its whatever. And now the year is 365.24 days. All right. Well, guess what? Those patterns, those things that you could pretty much that you would kind of say are scheduled, those things are still on the same schedule, even though we have added 5.24 days to every year for thousands of years now. That adds up to quite a bit. It should have thrown all of those schedules completely off kilter. But no, it still happens just the same as it was. It's as if it's on a schedule, regardless if the year is 360 days or 365.24 days. Makes no difference. That tells us, dear loved one, that things happen a little bit too perfectly for this to all be a cosmic accident. So there's that. Anyway, that was getting way off the subject, which I'm so good at doing. But anyway, so if you are inclined, dear loved one, if you're inclined to feel those feelings that I recently just mentioned, if you're inclined to feel that longing to return home when you look to the stars, then you should also be inclined to believe in other dimensional things, such as multidimensional beings and things like that. You would probably be inclined to believe in quote unquote channelers who channel beings from the angelic realm or beings from other dimensions, beings from other planets. It's probably not far of a stretch if you look to the stars and feel homesick to think that you might believe some things that channelers have said. Okay. Well, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with any of that. I'm not saying that I necessarily go along with it, but hey, my brothers and sisters in the New Age movement, we're all in this together. It's just a big old mix mash of whatever. Everything that's not, everything that's weird. So anyway, but a lot of these channelers have channeled beings from other planets or other dimensions or whatever. And I realize most of those channelers are fake. However, there have been some who have come through with some very profound wisdom, some very profound knowledge that just couldn't have been known any other way. Anyway, I'm not going to go down that road now today. But a lot of channelers have said that these other beings have said that the Earth, Gaia, this planet that we live on, is the crown jewel of the Milky Way galaxy, meaning it is beautiful in every way, in its richness of life and all of that. And we who have incarnated here, we who have came here for lifetimes, most likely the case by choice, we are admired for our courage to come here because most planets don't have that rich of a diversity. Most planets may have some very extreme conditions, but the conditions are pretty much even across the board, all the way around it. We have such a rich diversity of conditions, be it geographical conditions or climate conditions or the human condition, from how high of the states of love to the states of low states of hatred, from peace to violence, from beauty to ugly. But again, we also know that the principle of polarity teaches us that if the pendulum swings this far to the left, it must swing equally that far to the right. It just has to. That's the principle of polarity. So if there is love, then there has to be hate. If there is beauty, there must be ugliness. As I've said in a recent YouTube video, and I think I said it on the podcast too, but the good news about bad things happening is that it tells you, well, as bad as this may be, it proves to me that there is something equally as beautiful. So there's that. So anyway, we are admired for our courage to come here and experience lifetimes or have come here for an experience at all, because it is just so dangerous. There is life and death here. There's suffering here. There is greed. There is hatred. There is all of these bad things that you may encounter. But we're admired for our courage to come here because it's so hard. Life is hard until you figure out what your true nature is, until you figure out what your true purpose and where you really came from is. We're also admired because on the cosmic scale, a lifetime, 80 or 100 years, is nothing. 80 to 100 years is not even a blink of an eye on the cosmic scale. So we're admired because it's like, well, in those short lifetimes, they have such an immense amount of experience gained, such an immense amount of knowledge and just conditions, be it mental or spiritual or physical conditions that you are exposed to. It's really staggering to think about the the extremes that we can encounter just in a very short 80 to 100 year lifetime. Now, while we're incarnated here and time is very much slowed down, and it doesn't seem like a short amount of time, but it sure is. So anyway, loved ones, I'm trying to encourage you to love your life. If you are one of those people who thinks that you came from the stars, it's called a star seed. If you're one of those people that thinks you're a star seed or whatever, that you have come from somewhere else and you feel like, I don't belong here. I hate it here. It's too ugly. There's too much greed. There's too much hatred. There's too much death and destruction. Well, all of that's true. But if there's destruction, there also must be creation, right? If there's greed, there also must be generosity. If there's hatred, there must be love. Those are all polar opposites. So the nice thing is you do come here with free will. You are able to, as an individual, choose which end of those poles you want to participate in. Do you want to participate in greed, or would you rather participate in generosity? Do you want to participate in love or hatred? Those are the things that we come here to have experiences with. And we can't come here knowing our true power. We can't come here knowing that you are the divine spark of the one true creator and that you have the same creative powers as God. Because then you would have nothing to discover about yourself. In this lifetime, in this construct, we have lots of reasons for being here. I believe one is to discover our true selves. Not just to be told, hey, you are the divine spark. You are sons and daughters of God, or whatever. No, you have to discover that for yourself. Discover your true divine inheritance. Discover that you are the divine spark. You do come from the source. And that the source, the creator, God, pick a name, that the source is in you. Like the Rumi quote says, you are not a drop in the ocean, you are the ocean in a drop. The entire ocean, the creator, is in you fully. So while we are here, we need to discover ourselves. And was addiction part of it? Yeah, I got to believe it was. Think of how much stuff you learned about yourself and about just human nature and all of these things from your time in active addiction. And now you're on the outside of it. Now you're looking at another end of the pole. There's chipping, where we kind of use a little bit of drugs, but not much. And then it gets into addiction. Then it goes into full-blown addiction. And then it goes into the point where somebody's strung out, living on the streets or whatever. And then the other end of that is where you are sober and maybe a little bit fragile, but sober, making it. And then you might get a little stronger in your sobriety. And eventually you're a champion of sobriety. That would be the polar opposite of strung out and living on the streets. Sometimes you have to learn one polar opposite so that you can then discover that there is another polar opposite. But anyway, you have come here for something. And I know that whenever you're new to sobriety, or even if you've never touched a drug in your life, there are people who think, what is my purpose here? Why am I here? Well, there's lots of reasons. As I've said, one is discovery. Discovery of who you really are, what your real divine inheritance is. Second one would be, in my humble opinion, is to learn your true creative power. But again, you can't just be told, hey, you're a super powerful creator just like God. No, you have to discover that. It's a power in yourself that you need to discover and use and get good at using it, get good at doing. That's why you need to use your creative power to manifest for yourself an amazing life that you have envisioned. That's what's amazing about manifestation and creativity, is that it makes you get better at it once you've had some success with it. Before you manifest, go working on manifesting $1 million, maybe just manifest having a good car that works. Because let's face it, we're here for experiences, not to stack bread. Okay. Although stacking bread is nice, but I can tell you your higher self doesn't give a rat's ass about how much bread you've got stacked. I'll probably edit that out. Well, maybe not. Anyway, so I believe, dear loved one, that you have a purpose outside of those two things, outside of discovering your true nature, outside of discovering the fact that you are an extremely powerful creator, just like God. And I don't want to hear the blasphemy arguments. I don't want to hear people say, oh, that's blasphemous. You're not God. Yeah, well, in the Judeo-Christian Bible, it does actually say you are God's. And further, Jesus even pointed out to them, he said, doesn't it say in your scriptures, you are God's? He was making a point to them. And I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying. Point is, you are creators, just like God. And then, of course, we have other purposes or meaning for our life. Maybe it is to raise good kids who are then going to be powerful creators themselves. Maybe they can go out and spread the word and be like, look, here's what I saw my mom do, or here's what I saw my dad do, and I can do it too. And guess what? So can you. We've talked about this many times. What is your passion? And I understand you may not know. Some people are like, I don't even know what my passion is. I've did drugs and lived that chasing dope, grinded out, hustling lifestyle for so long. I don't even know who I am besides that. Okay, that's fine. Fair enough. Begin with a meditation practice. Begin with simply becoming mindful of yourself. And I do mean that in two words, your own self. Become aware of the fact that you do exist. Try to detach from your body, from your avatar. Detach from it, meaning imagine. Imagination is the most powerful force there is. That's where everything exists. But anyway, imagine yourself hovering over your body or standing behind yourself and just kind of observing your body. Imagine your true higher self, what it would be like to be that, looking down from 30,000 foot view, looking down at you and everything around you, at your surroundings. That is meditation in a nutshell. There's also just breathing meditation, where you simply focus on your breath, and very powerful. It's like, well, I always hear about these people having these mystical experiences with meditation and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it happens. It does. But it's not going to happen right at first. First, develop a meditation practice. You might feel a little silly. You might think you definitely will think you're not doing it right, but you are. There's no wrong way to do it besides just not doing it. So start meditating. Start a meditation practice and don't worry about it. And you don't have to sit in some pose and hold your fingers a certain way. None of that's necessary. There are reasons behind all of those things, yes, but it's just not necessary. Just sit comfortably, quietly, focus on your breath. The mystical experience will probably come. You'll probably have a face-to-face meeting with your higher self at some point. That's just the truth. You will probably have a talk with your higher self. I know I did. That's how I realized that consciousness is just a field. That's how I realized my higher self really doesn't have a form. It doesn't have a shape. It just is a field of consciousness. It's just simple awareness. It's an existence. And I don't know how to explain that to you. And actually, I didn't understand it either when I had this meeting. It was talking to me. I said, where are you? It said, I'm right here. I'm like, I don't know where that is. And then it shrunk itself down to a little ball of light about the size of a grain of sand, literally, in front of me. It's like, I'm here, I'm there, I'm wherever, and I'm you. Anyway, yes, those mystical experiences will come, but don't look for them to happen in the first few weeks. Just saying. Also, journaling is a very good way to find your passion. I don't care if you just journal about what you watched on TV last night, or what you had for breakfast, or what you hope to get accomplished, or when the next time you need to get a haircut is, anything. Journal about anything, because you will have those little nuggets of beautiful wisdom and or brilliance come out when you least expect it. And you will find your passion. You'll find what floats your boat. You will figure out what you love, what you're passionate about. And let's say, for example, if it's art, you're like, yeah, well, but how can I make a living off art? Well, you can. You certainly can. But what you got to realize is you may have to work at Walmart. Okay, fine. That doesn't mean you can't be an artist. What you declare over your life is, I am, like the mantra, I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and free. And I am also an artist. I am a very successful artist. And it's like, well, yeah, but I work at Walmart. And well, okay, fine. You are an artist who also works at Walmart. Whatever. I mean, work with me. Baby steps, y'all. Baby steps. I just want you to learn to love your life. Stop feeling like you don't belong here, that you came here by accident, or this is hell and you're being punished, or whatever. No, you are here in this beautiful, beautiful realm for a beautiful reason. So find your passion, and you'll find your purpose. You'll find your calling. You'll find meaning. And some people, their meaning is to raise beautiful children. That's great. That's an amazing and very noble meaning. That's what I got, loved ones. I've been doing a lot on the YouTube. It's actually been pretty good. Find me as Matt Stevens, MSA, as in My Sober Addiction. I would like to begin doing live streams soon, now that this election season, this grueling election season is over. Now that that's over, I would like to begin doing some live streams. Why did I need the election season to be over for that? I don't know. It just sounded good. Don't judge me. But I'm still doing YouTube videos. In fact, I'm probably going to be doing one very soon. I do them on Wednesday and Saturday, and I do also on Monday as well sometimes. Please go to my YouTube channel and subscribe and check out some videos, give me some thumbs ups and all that good stuff. And also, Substack is still going. Although I haven't been writing as much, I've been doing more on the YouTube. And I'm also on Rumble, but I'm having an issue with getting videos uploaded to Rumble. So if you prefer that platform for videos, well, bear with me. Hopefully I will get this thing figured out. Anyway, loved ones, that's what I got. I love you, and I will be back directly.
There is a